Mic'd up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yankees Coast to Coast. I am your host, and so is he. And we have the great Yankee the Frankie himself, who's come to participate.
Yankee the Frankie.
Yankee the Frankie,
Whatever.
who's here to help us to discuss these very important topics, these things that really alter the way we all live our lives here at Yankee Coast to Coast. Michael, how are you, my friend?
Mean, tired, and cranky, same as always.
Yes, sir, you are. And they lost today, so that can't be helping.
Well, they had to lose because they had to end the game before our show.
It was very nice of them, I think. I'm looking this up right now, this helmet thing. Yeah.
Well, Frankie, how are you doing? I haven't seen you or spoken to you in like 6,000 or 7,000 years.
I'm doing fine. How about yourself? You doing good?
I'm doing pretty good.
Looks like you guys had fun in California.
Well, we had a lot of fun in California. We had tons of fun. You should come next time.
I said the same thing. Can you believe it?
And bring the wife. She'll have a grand old time.
Oh, you got to bring Jackie. Would love it. In Monterey, man. Have you been to Monterey?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
The other thing is I don't understand you guys. Where is the bowing down to the last Oakland Athletics employee of the month? Why aren't you guys genuflecting in front of me?
Did they give you a ring or anything, a plaque? What did they give you?
I'm getting another A's jersey with my name on it.
Okay, good.
The same thing?
No, I actually I asked for either a gold or a white one instead of the green one that I got last year.
Can you get the team to sign someone famous on the team to give it some value, like last season best player?
Quite frankly, normally I could have, but because I can't actually go to the on-field event because I have to work because so many people got fired in the last 2 weeks. And seriously, they fired a whole boatload of people for things that they deserve to get fired for.
Okay, so it wasn't a layoff. They got fired. Okay.
And Wednesday night, I teach a class at the college, the 25th, and I had to cancel class because the A's asked me to come in and work that day. So I blew off my college class for a $17.14 job per hour so that I can go in. And then they tell me that I can't even go to the event on the field.
Wow.
So I asked for tickets for my students for that game. And they're opening the entire upper deck for that game too. So they have 48,000 for Thursday.
Media. Wow.
Well, they're 48. Hey, we're gonna have almost 49,000 next Thursday.
Have they checked underneath what's under there now? I mean,
no. They're not opening up Mount Davis. They're opening up the upper deck.
The old athletics thing, right? It's all green.
Nobody's doing that.
So that has been closed for 10 years, if I remember.
Yeah, it's been closed because there's no running water and no electricity.
Do you think those seats are still intact up there, or are they?
I'm sure they are. They're covered. They're probably in better shape than the seats in the rest of the stadium. However, because they were using that area as storage, the rats got to the entire pallet of Mike Fiers no-hitter bobbleheads. And then when the rats ate them, they died. So it went from stuff that would go to a landfill to biodegradable. I think that's an environmental move by the A's.
This is a good thing. Only in California.
Not to mention the possums probably ate the rats because that's what they do. And the cats. Every stadium has cats.
Don't talk about cats. Nobody. Who's going to eat the cats? That's what worries me.
Alf.
And the dogs. Okay.
Alf is coming back. I actually played for my students after they went through that whole fiasco of saying they're eating the cats and dogs. I found a scene from the TV show Alf. You remember the show?
Oh,
I loved it. I found a scene of Alf trying to make a sandwich out of a cat and getting caught. And I said, listen, I have the evidence that the illegal aliens are eating our pets. And then I showed Alf. So
I love
it. Was funny. It was kind of funny. It's just crazy.
So what's the general mindset? Sorry, go ahead, Frank.
Are they ready to handle that kind of crowd?
No. Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, that may get out of control.
When we had the Giants in town for the games, there's only a certain number of parking spaces and they're $30 each. And they pre-sold all the parking spaces. But when people came in with their cars and parked and started tailgating and parked, instead of parking, perpendicular, they parked parallel. They ended up not having enough parking spaces, and they had to put people into this other lot, and they were charging $50 for the other lot. People paid $30 already, couldn't get into the lot, so then they had to pay $50. So we had to do. I had to process a boatload of refunds. At least they handled it right. Not to mention the concession stands. They don't have enough people there, and it's going to be interesting. They do have enough, and Adam can vouch for this. They do have enough troughs in the men's room.
plenty of toilet space, plenty of urinal space.
Yes, the bathrooms, unlike when Yankee Stadium closed in 2008, all of the bathrooms work that are available for people to use. They're not locked closed. So I don't know that there will be anybody having to pee on the doors of the bathroom. That doesn't mean that they won't be doing it, but at Yankee Stadium, you had no choice.
It's a rough crowd.
We'll see what happens. I mean, the last game is sold out, so I don't understand what I'm going to be doing there because there's nothing to sell. And they're giving away two things. Everybody who goes to the last game is getting a commemorative ticket when they get into the stadium, which is the only time that they're giving paper tickets out. And they're pulling a Yankees. The first 25,000 fans that get there are getting a replica of the Oakland Coliseum. And they're only going to give them out on the way out of the stadium. They're not giving them out during the early part of the game.
So they're forcing them to stay, in other words.
No, they're not forcing them to stay. They're going to start giving them out in the sixth inning when people leave. Because they don't want to give it to them to
throw. Oh, yeah. I mean,
because they're supposed to be a really nice thing. I'll get a look at it maybe this week when I go in for the Yankee games. But
wow.
So I'm working Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday day. So next Thursday, we're doing our show at 4:00.
Do we have a special show next week?
I will find out exactly what's going on, and I will be live at the Oakland Coliseum.
Can you send me a cap?
What is that, the last game?
Thursday? Yeah, it's the last game. What do you want, Adam?
I want us to do a commemorative episode. Podcast.
We are. So the game, now the issue is this, Adam, we might have to change the time of our show. We'll talk about this later because the game starts at 12:30 next Thursday. So by 4:00 our time locally, it'll be over. I could be in the parking lot interviewing people, but I think that might be kind of scary.
I think the whole thing's scary. You would be careful.
I said this before, we've had people asking if they could bring wrenches to take their seats that they've had. Remember, Frankie, I'm sure you were there in 73 when the stadium closed. Did you go to that game?
There, but I remember. Yeah.
Oh, I went to that game in 73.
Did you?
And my father wouldn't let us go anywhere near the field, but people walked out with the seats under their arms.
Yeah, pieces of the stadium, like scoreboard, the fences.
Right. I mean, somebody dug out the pitching rubber, and somebody dug out home plate. The bases disappeared. People were walking out with seats under their arms because they were, seats of 4. Remember the old box seats?
Yeah.
It was 4 and 4, 8 in a box. People walking out with 4 seats. But then in 2008, when the stadium closed, because it was after 9/11, nothing.
No,
the Yankees,
not just that.
The Yankees ended up selling everything.
There was money in all that, so they were money.
The Yankees were selling an ounce of dirt for $100.
I hate to say it, I don't think 9/11 had any factor in that mindset.
No,
was how do we preserve
the signs? They were selling toilets. They were selling everything.
Oh, they sold it. But what's funny is they didn't. You couldn't bring in anything to take apart your seats.
There was one. You were there, weren't you?
I was there in 75, not in 08.
No, I was there in 08.
73, not 08.
I was there. There were warnings and everything. They were keeping their eye on everybody.
Right, but in 73 they did nothing.
But Jackie, for some reason, as we were leaving, we were literally maybe the last ones to leave. She was scraping paint off the walls, the lead paint, and I said, "What are you doing?" She made pictures and put them in the pictures. Paint from Yankee Stadium. Gave to people. I don't know, but
we'll see. Now I'm assuming people are going to make wrenches with their 3D printers and bring them into the stadium because that'll beat the metal detectors. But I don't know how they're going to get the seats out of the stadium.
If they were there for years, it's tough to get them out.
And then in an ultimate surprise to every one of the A's employees, we are having an employee party in October.
Really?
I am just shocked. On a Wednesday night, we are having an employee party, which we didn't really have one last year. So usually the employee party, they throw really good employee parties. They give us lots of swag.
And you're going to get a lot of stuff because I'm sure there's a lot.
I don't
of
know. Well, I'm assuming this last Homestein, it's a Jewish thing. It's a Jewish
family,
thing.
The Homesteins.
The last homestand, they usually run specials, like 50% off everything and all sorts of things to empty out the stadium of all the stuff from the stores. This year, I would assume they're going to do the same thing. And I'm assuming everything that's got the words Oakland on it is going to go like hotcakes. Mm-hmm. So if there's something you guys want, or if any of our many, many, many listeners have anything that they want, send us a note at our YouTube page, Yankees Coast to Coast, and I will see what I can get for you and at what price.
You're all hard.
We'll see what happens.
Hard.
On a different note, I will be attending the games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. Friday and Sunday, you will see me behind the ass of the left-hand batters in the batter's box. I will be sitting in the second or third row in diamond level on Friday and Sunday. So you will be able to see me on TV, and I expect lots of texts from all of our listeners.
What time is the game on Sunday?
The game on Sunday is at 1:07.
Your time.
My time. But Friday night's game is at 6:07.
Okay, I can watch Friday. Sunday I can't watch it.
You can't watch it Sunday? What, do you go to church?
I've got a game.
Oh, I have a game. I'm actually blowing off my game, and we barely had enough players to make it 9-on-9 for my game on Sunday. But you know what? I'm going to the Yankee game. It's not my fault that 5 other guys couldn't make the game.
Is that game going to be nationally televised? The last game, or
I doubt it. Why would they put the A's on TV? They're actually not that bad a team right now. But so Friday night you could see me. The game starts at 6:07 because it is fireworks and drone show night, simultaneous. Fireworks and drones.
What a night! This is going to be an event.
And then so it's also Ricky Henderson bobblehead day.
Are you? Wait a minute. Why? What's the significance of drones and fireworks? Is the idea to hit the drones?
They've done both. They've done both for the last several seasons, and the drone shows are amazing. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a drone show, but they're amazing.
I have not.
The last drone show that we went to was a Nickelodeon drone show, and what was scary about it is they had the kids from Rugrats, and the drones were like walking. And if I was a little kid, it would have freaked me out because it was really kind of scary. But I've been to drone shows and I've been to fireworks. The A's had the best fireworks show in the Bay Area. It's better than anything they do on July 4th anywhere. The Macy's show is better. Don't get me wrong, because it's much bigger and better. But the A's fireworks shows that they do 5 or 6 a year are fantastic. They're great. And the drone shows have been really good. So Friday night is Ricky Henderson bobblehead.
That's a biggie.
Saturday is drones and fireworks. And Sunday, I don't think anything is on Sunday. But I'm going to all 3 games. It's going to be 90 degrees on Sunday. That'd be really nice.
Wow.
And but it's supposed to be 60 degrees on Friday and Saturday. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to all the games. Look for me behind the left-hand hitter's app.
So it's 1:00 your time.
4:00 your time.
Oh, then I can't.
We will be there. We will be watching and making fun of you. You're not
Sunday
bringing your
game
dog,
is at 1:07. Friday's game is at 6:40 my time, 9:40 yours.
Okay, Sunday I can watch then.
So, all right. So I sent out that email the other day, Adam, to the Highlanders group, and mentioned that it was Ricky Henderson's bobblehead day.
Yeah.
What was the first thing that happened within 10 seconds after sending that text?
Kramer made a comment about Kramer bobblehead. That there was
more
value.
Well, no, he made that. But somebody sent me a private message. What do you think it was, and who sent it?
I don't know. I'm lost.
Kramer wants to swap me a Yankee. Kramer's swapping me a Yankee bobblehead for the hoodies that you guys got.
Well, hold on. You almost didn't get that hoodie. I asked him about the hoodie. He said, I'm going to give it to Mike. I said, oh, does Mike have a vote in the Hall of Fame? He said, I'll send it to you right now.
That's what I said to him. I reminded him I don't have a Hall of Fame vote. Of course, Frankie, you got to go back to camp in order for that to happen.
That's okay.
Are you going back to camp, Frankie?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Put him on the line.
I don't know.
All right. Adam's going to camp in January.
Are you, Adam?
I am. I'm excited. We're going to be ready to go.
Well, I don't
Second
lose my
base.
$1,000 deposit if they still have it, but I
They
might
still have mine too. That's why I have to go.
Oh, wow, that $1,000 is long gone.
gone. Yeah, I'm not getting that back. So
Long gone.
Nerve.
So,
all right, so let's talk a little bit of baseball that matters.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Baseball that matters. I still haven't seen you guys genuflect before me.
Oakland
Kneel
A's,
before the employee of the month.
I grew up in
Mr. Miller.
72, 73, and 74. You know, Oakland A's, it's history.
That is history.
Sad.
And
it's
our
sad.
history.
Best
Are they going to be the A's?
They had the best.
Allegedly, they're going to be the A's everywhere they
Sacramento
go.
A's.
And then they're going to be the Vegas A's. I think they just might be the A's in Sacramento. I don't even think they're going to be called Sacramento A's. It's still, what's really interesting is in Sacramento, they're replacing the grass with artificial turf. Because at AAA level, or whatever level the Sacramento Bees play at, they play 6 home games, and then they take Monday off, and then they play 6 road games. The A's schedule for next year has to fit into that window. And because they're going to be playing baseball there 6 days a week, every week, with no rest, they're changing out the grass to artificial turf. The players are none too happy. It is 102 every day in Sacramento during the summer. It is hot as heck up there. So, and there's no dome. And they're building the clubhouse out in left field, beyond the left field fence. And from my understanding, I have no inside information because, of course, the A's don't include me in their hierarchy. I don't understand why, as the least paid employee in the entire company. But the players have not signed off on this yet. The owners have, but the players have not signed off on this Sacramento thing yet.
So and then, of course, when are they meeting? When's that decision?
I have no idea. I can't say how it's not going to happen.
Why would they not? They don't want to play.
They don't want to play on. They don't want to play on turf outdoors in 102-degree heat every day.
And it's not.
Yes, it's a dry heat like your oven, and it's not humid up there most of the time. But what's interesting is it doesn't cool off at night there. It's really just freaking hot. So the players are not too thrilled with that, and it's turf. The second thing is the clubhouse is, whatever it is, and they supposedly are supposed to fix the lights as well. The A's said they'll take care of fixing the lights. But the other front, the Vegas front, I think the Tropicana is being imploded either this week or in October. I forgot when. And that's the site where the stadium's going to be. But and the A's, or the city of Las Vegas or the state of Nevada, they've won another lawsuit so that the A's can move. So there's been 3 lawsuits, and the A's in Nevada have won every single one of them. But the A's still don't have that extra $500 million that they need for the stadium to be built. So the A's owner is putting in $500 million. There's supposedly supposed to raise another $500 million from other investors, and then there's supposedly another $500 million, another billion, or another $500 million coming from the city of Nevada, city of Las Vegas, or the state of Nevada through some type of bond issuance, so that they can have their $1 billion, 35,000 seat stadium. But the A's can't get their other $500 million yet. So there's another interesting twist on things.
Unreal.
But that stadium's going to have a retractable dome because it's Las Vegas. Obviously, it has to.
Oh, yeah.
How are they playing there now? The minor leagues are there, right? They must be terrible.
Yeah, they only play night games there. They don't play day games.
Yeah. Well, isn't that an option as well? I assume they're going to be playing a lot of night games in Sacramento.
I assume they're going to do that. But the Sacramento baseball team that's there now, they play whatever they play. It's minor leagues. What do you think? The owners care about those guys? I mean, they just got rid of how many minor league jobs in the last couple of years by getting rid of all those teams?
Wow.
Come on, give me a break. But, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't see how the train has left the station. I don't see how it's going to happen. I've got another piece of news.
Uh-oh.
I am taking a class at Stanford.
Modern dance?
No. I am taking a sports management class at Stanford that is all about sports marketing and sports teams in Oakland.
Wow.
And the primary professor is a gentleman by the name of Andy Dolich, who is very active with the previous A's ownership.
That name seems familiar to me.
Yeah, he was very much working with the previous owners of the A's, and he was also working with the owner of the Celtics, who based on the initial articles that I've been getting as part of this class that hasn't started yet, the owner of the Celtics had an exact offer to buy the A's that the current ownership has. And the A's took both of them, the A's ownership took both of them to Major League Baseball, and they gave the deal to the Fishers, who's the current owner, because Fisher was a fraternity brother of the then commissioner, Bud Selig. But Lacob, who owns the Warriors, which was everybody thought he overpaid, and now they're worth like $6 billion. He says he still would like to buy the A's. He's got an open offer to buy the A's. The amount would have to be negotiated because they're no longer worth as little as he offered the first time. They're worth more. Mm-hmm. But he said he'd buy the A's in a second.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens. There's nothing going to happen. They're going to Vegas. It's just, I'm very upset. I love that job. It is one of the best jobs I've ever had in my life.
There's another team right across the way.
I won't go there.
To them. Why?
No. Well, okay, for several reasons. One is it costs a lot more money for me to get there by taking BART and then having to take Muni to get there or to go over the bridge. And then if I do drive there, the Giants charge their employees for parking.
You are kidding me. They do not.
They absolutely do. They charge. Now, they don't charge as much as they charge the fans, which is like $30 or $40. They charge the employees like $15. I'm not paying for parking, to go, it's just ridiculous. Especially since what are they going to pay me? I'm literally going to spend 1 hour of my work, but 1 hour of my pay to get to the stadium to go over the bridge, and another hour of my pay to park. So, and work for a 4-hour shift. So I'm working a 4-hour shift and I get 2 hours worth of pay. That's not happening.
No.
I could go to work for one of the minor league teams, San Jose Giants, who's a nice place. I know Mike Furutani, who you know, Adam. He works on the grounds crew for the San Jose Giants.
Really?
Yes, he does.
Is that his career? Does he do that for a living?
No, he's retired.
Oh.
He used to be a sportscaster down in Monterey, and then he and his wife also.
Great job.
They also were florists, not selling flowers, but growing them and selling them wholesale. And now his wife sells them at farmers markets because they took most of their greenhouses and they've leased them out to the legal weed business.
Back to the weed business.
Yeah.
Love it.
Legal weed business.
Legal. All right. Whatever smokes, whatever lights your bong.
That's whatever it goes. So that's my life.
Wow.
And that's really all I care about.
That's
so I'll see you guys next week.
Over in Shea Miller. I'm very proud of you, man. You're doing great things. I understand that. I know what's happening. You're having some depression now. There's a little sadness in your world. And so you're doing new things. And I think in a life when we have these moments where we have to transition from one place to another, we need to fill our lives with other things. And you're doing that. I'm proud of you. You're taking a class. Modern dance is great. You should do that too. Have you thought about it? Maybe ballet or something?
I was thinking about taking a class on throat singing, whatever that thing is. You go singing with my throat.
What do you have to say about this guy? What do you think, Frankie?
I am a Renaissance man.
Adam's turning his Oprah over here, giving advice. Just call Adam.
I am a Renaissance man.
Yes, you are. So on to subjects of importance. What do you think about the Yankees? Because we do have at least 4 people out there right now who are very upset that we are not talking about our favorite team. So are you pleased with what? I'm going to bring up a point that I brought up before to Fantasy Camp chat. Is it more? First of all, they played very, very lackluster today. They didn't look good today.
Well, they were left over. That's fine.
They're drunk. They look. First of all, I'm cracking up. Soto's walking up to the plate. He's yawning. I've never seen a professional baseball player yawn on the way. I'm thinking, what time did these guys get home last night?
I know. I think
anyway, they probably should sat some. Why did he sit some people? But he wants to win the division. So is it more important to win the division or give these guys a little bit of a blow? What do you think? Frank,
Well,
what do you think?
they need to win the division.
Okay.
I mean, well, you don't want to have to play that best 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
I just and I don't think the Yankees have the pitching to go through all those rounds either. So
I don't
they have to win
disagree.
the division. I mean, I don't think they have to have the best record. As long as they get a bye the first week is most important. I think once they get that, I think they should just. I think Judge needs to sit. But I just don't. I think he's starting to get tired. He looks tired. He's not hitting home runs. And, he fizzled out in 22 because they overplayed him. He might be fizzling out now, and he could walk that right into the playoffs, and it could be a problem.
Well,
And I don't know if resting a couple of days now is going to help anyway. So who knows?
he hasn't been a playoff performer even in other seasons where he hasn't played as many games as he has this year. He needs to have an A-Rod renaissance with regard to playoff performance.
Yeah.
He needs to pull an A-Rod from 09 is what he's got to do.
Don't disagree. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see them. Listen, I'm happy. You can't be unhappy about it.
No.
They've had a very odd season on so many levels. Incredible start, just a miserable middle. And I'm not saying that they are playing their best baseball right now, but they seem to be quote unquote healthy. And I'm knocking on every piece of wood I can find because it's exactly what happens. You say that and then somebody they start going down. So, but I'm saying right now they seem to be getting into a place that they need to be in order to win, to get on a roll. I'd like to see Stanton playing steadily again, and maybe getting back into some. Because Stanton, for some reason, does seem to turn it on in the postseason, which has been nice. But I just think that this is what we can expect. They're playing well. This is what we had hoped for a little bit earlier. I would like to have been about 10 games up now, not 4. If they had played well during that mid area, they probably would have been. But listen, we can't really say anything bad about them. What do you think, Frank? Are you enjoying the season so far?
I think the fact they're in first place is good enough. I mean, every Yankee fan is going to look at the down part of it, but like I said, as long as they can get by and not have to play in that first round, I'm happy. I mean, whether they, like I said, I don't care if they get the best record in the league, as long as they have, and Oakland. I mean, Houston's not going to catch them, so they're going to get the bye if they win the division. So that's to me the most important part.
Yeah.
I mean, I know now it's 9 games left for a 4-game lead. That should hold up. I mean, without a collapse. I mean, you want to be able to go into Baltimore and only have to win one, and just and then be okay. And I think if they could take, go into Oakland to take what they need to take, then they go to Baltimore. They don't have to take one of them.
Do you think sweeping Oakland's an option? What do you think, Mike? You've been watching the A's.
Oakland's playing decent baseball. They have some decent things going on. I mean,
Didn't
they
lose 2 out of 3 to the?
They need to win 2 out of 3 in Oakland because they need to win 2 out of 3 against a team that's not as good as them.
No, but they just lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. So my feeling is
they lost 2 out of 3 to the Cubs.
To the Cubs. Oh, I see.
But who's Baltimore playing next? Are they playing Detroit?
Baltimore plays Detroit.
Baltimore playing Detroit, and Detroit's are they a half game out of the playoffs right now?
Is that incredible?
No, they're tied.
They're tied now.
They're tied because they had off today, and the Twins lost.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
So that's what you hope for. You hope the Yankees take 2 out of 3, and they lose 2 out of 3 to Detroit, and then the series with Baltimore is not that important.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And the buffer, you got the Pirates at the end.
And what's going on with Verdugo? Why are they playing Verdugo? What is this love affair with Verdugo?
Well, he's actually been playing a hell of a lot better, big guy. I mean, as much as I don't like him, granted, he went 15 for 45 with 15 singles and 17 ground outs to the infielders, soft ground outs to the infielders, and 10 strikeouts. But he has been playing better offensively. He has been getting some hits. But, are you playing him? Who's not playing because he's playing? Dominguez had 2 hits today. Maybe he's starting to hit. I'd rather see Dominguez in there every day because I think there's more of an opportunity. Of course, Dominguez can't hit right-handed allegedly, so we'll see how they handle that.
Well,
but they've got to look at a lot of things. The inconsistent offense is going to be their biggest problem. Listen, the pitching right now, as it's been pretty much the last week and a half to 2 weeks, including Stroman's last 2 starts, the pitching has been like it was in the beginning of the season. And the hitting has been a lot like it's been in the beginning of the season. It's been either, feast or famine. And when the pitching's good, the famine hasn't really hurt them that much, although today it did. It's, the pitching has to hold up. Cousins getting hurt today, that could be a little bit scary.
do they know what it is?
Which, of course, that sentence is one that you wouldn't have even said at the beginning of the season since he wasn't on the team. But, Cousins getting hurt could hurt them. They're relying on unproven guys in Weaver and Hamilton and Stroman in the bullpen, it looks like. It's going to be an interesting bullpen. And Hill, he's an unproven playoff guy. So it's going to be an interesting situation on how they react to being pitching in the playoffs. And then, of course, the hitting, which has always been their problem in the playoffs. Even when Houston was banging the garbage cans, it didn't make a difference. The Yankees didn't score. I mean, if you can't score, you can't win. And, I'm hopeful Soto will hit in the playoffs because he's just that kind of hitter. Judge has to figure out how to hit in the playoffs. Stanton has been a good playoff performer, but right now he looks awful at the plate. Volpe looks awful at the plate. Verdugo's Verdugo. Dominguez is unknown. Rizzo, although he had hits the last couple of games, he's not hitting. Wells is an unknown. And then Torres, God knows what the hell is going to happen with that guy. He's a mental eggplant.
Your favorite. You'd love to say the eggplant.
Mm-hmm. So
hey, let's hope. Let's hope for good times.
What do you think's going to happen, Frankie, in the playoffs?
Oh God, no. Flip a coin. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, does anybody? I mean,
right. Well, I see. Are you of the school that what does Cashman call the playoffs?
A crapshoot.
A crapshoot? I'm not. I'm thinking that they don't play. You got to play the hot hand. If Verdugo gets red hot and he's hitting like crazy these last 9 games, leave his ass in the lineup. The only 2 guys that should never leave the lineup are Soto and Judge. I don't care how hot or cold they get. But everybody else, if you're hot, you stay.
Yeah. You think he'll bench Volpe in the playoffs though?
I think that he's going to have no. I mean, if he's starting to pinch hit for Volpe now, in today's game, there's a chance that if Cabrera's hitting, he'll be the guy.
Well, you talk about a crapshoot. I think most years, this year being more because there's no super team that is a crapshoot. And a few weeks ago, you could have got the odds for the Yankees and Mets to be in the World Series together, 13,000 to 1. Wouldn't be a bad $100 bet because you never know. It could happen.
Mets are hottest team in baseball.
Mets definitely, because they're on a roll.
I think don't the Mets have like the best record in baseball since the Grimace?
Yeah.
Or is it since the hot tour girl?
It always annoys me. The Mets, every time the Mets do anything well or bad, there's always some stupid reason.
Oh, it's
they
fine.
Do it.
Let them have their fun.
I can't. I just can't.
The Mets.
I am a flawed human being. I hate the New York Mets.
The Mets can only help the Yankees except when they play each other. Just remember that every single time you watch the Mets. They can never hurt the Yankees ever except when they play the Yankees. And there are games they can actually help the Yankees.
Yeah, that's BS.
It's not BS. That's the truth. That's the fact.
I absolutely agree. It's completely true. This is not a logic. I'm not being logical here, Michael. This is the guy that's willing to go.
This is the guy that's willing to go to Mets camp.
I'm 61 years old. Okay, in 3 weeks, and I have hated the Mets since I was 4. That's a lot of life.
Wow.
I was
A lot
I
of
was
hate.
statistically beaten by children of all races, colors, and creeds because I was
How are you
a
going to
Yankee
feel
fan.
if the comeback player of the year and the manager of the year are both from the Mets and ex-Yankees?
I I don't know about you guys. You didn't have it because you were up there. I don't know where you guys were. I don't know, but I lived on the west side of Manhattan, and it was a Mets town. Nobody liked the Yankees. I would go to school, and the guys would say, "Horace Clark, are you kidding me?" And it was terrible to be a kid. Be a Yankee fan in 1971 or 72 was a
See,
bad.
Adam, I'm
My
having
best friend
difficulty.
growing up's father had season tickets, so I
I
went to
feel
more
that.
Met games than I ever did Yankee games.
I think you asked for it, Adam. I mean, I had no such problems. I lived in the Bronx until I was 6, and
Because
then
you
I
lived in
moved
the Bronx.
then I moved to Rockland County, and I went
You
to
lived in
school
the
in Rockland
Bronx.
County.
You think there's anybody's a Met fan in the
Wait,
Bronx? You
but I
got to be
moved to
nuts.
Rockland County in 1972, 71. That's an open territory, and I never had anybody
It was
yell at
hard.
me about Horace Clark through the early 70s. Or
I'm having flashbacks.
I think you were
It was a
just a
tough.
snot-nosed kid that people like to pick on.
Do you know
I
how many
was. It
games
was probably
how
because I
many
used to
games I
walk
went to
around with
Shea
my
in
flute.
1969 and had to live through it? Give me a break.
You know, when I was a kid, they used to call me Flute Boy because my mother gave me a flute, and we didn't like the fact that I didn't have a case, so she would take it into pieces and put 3 of them into my pocket, and I'd walk around and I'd clank. So people were like, "What's that noise?" So I didn't like the noise, so I would take it out and I put it together and I'd walk around like a flute, and people call me Flute Boy. It was a terrible thing growing up. I was again and a
I
Yankee.
don't think that's a
Met
story you
fans that
should have
called you.
told us. That's a story that I think we're going to
This is
have to
who
tell
I am.
Sturts for
This is
camp.
who
No,
I am.
what do you think Sturts is going to do with that story, Frankie?
Oh
He'll have
my
all kinds of
God!
fun.
I can't
Still
believe you
blowing
let that one
flutes.
out.
I love it.
Well, you're lucky
Your
they didn't call
brothers are
you
the
the
only
Pied
one.
Piper and the rats didn't follow you around.
Oh my
Jesus.
God!
We're listening. The only one listening right now are your brothers. I'm getting texts from both Millers. Um, all right, so let's move on to the subject. Now, enough of Flute Boy. Um,
That's a
Well,
the
show in itself.
Richard says that you were always blowing
Yeah,
blowing
yeah,
flutes.
yeah, very good. Thank you, Mr. Miller. I'll see you on Sunday. You can make fun of me there. Okay. What do you want to talk about? The Manfred Rules a little bit.
Okay.
I'm of the opinion that there's been some great changes. I'm looking at the list of things that have happened since he took over in 2015, and I have to say some of them are really good. Um, as a whole, some of the moves have been very beneficial, and they've led to some good things. The game is faster. The average 9 inning game is down 26 minutes now. If you felt that it was too long, a lot of people don't think baseball was too long. It was fine the way it was. It wasn't broken. But it
Well,
was
let's go rule by rule so we can
okay. All right.
evaluate
So
them.
the first thing he did was the no touch at second base rule. I did that in 2016, and it's a nice thing. But I don't think that I personally think that it's made the game a little bit less exciting. I used to like the turn. I used to like I love the Willie Randolph play. That's an iconic play. Randolph being pushed into left field by Hal McRae. Is it dangerous? Yes, no question. It was dangerous. It was a tough game. I used to like the impact. I used to like the guy going full speed at second base. I play second base. I have some spike marks on my legs from college, from high school.
You sure
Remember
that's
that?
not just the flute scratching your leg and leaving
What?
us?
The flutes. That's my right side, not my left. So anyway, boy, there's one I should never have gotten
I
in.
can't believe it. Okay.
But
Frankie, you play second base. What do you think? I have an opinion on this, but I'll let Frankie go first.
I think the guys are bigger and stronger, just like in football. I think it's a safety thing, and I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. I would have preferred something that was more balanced.
Yeah.
The Hal McRae driving Randolph into left field and never really sliding and just cross body blocking him, that should never have been allowed.
Yeah.
He didn't
I
get. He
think
didn't
he
get.
should be
Did he get
allowed to
fined?
slide. I think the idea of letting a guy slide into second base so that he has to maintain contact with second base all the way through his slide, that rule is the one that they should have. That way you still have the Willie Randolph play where the guy has to jump over him.
Mhm.
But the fact that these guys now really can't do anything is a little bit much, especially with the bigger base. I
Okay.
think they should be, I think the rule should be, and I don't even know exactly what the rule is, but the rule should be the guy should have to maintain contact. Either he should stop before second base, or he should be forced to maintain contact with second base with the first part of his body that touches second base. So if you slide feet first, your feet have to maintain contact with second base. If you slide head first, your hands have to be on a double play ball. On steals, it's a whole different animal. But I think you should be forced to maintain contact with second base. And that way you have some level of intimidation possibly, but you don't have the danger of a guy cross body blocking you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Got it. Next, 17. The intentional walk signal. What do you think, Frank?
I don't like that at all because anything can happen.
Why?
Because he could throw a wild pitch, or sometimes people reach over and hit it. I think it's no. I don't like that at all. In fact, I think a lot of times the pitcher does that. He throws the 4 pitches, then he can't get control on the next batter. That happens a few times, and you're taking that out of the game. Don't let the pitcher get a bye. Let him make him throw the 4 pitches.
So I actually agree with your facts, Frankie, that anything can happen and that the pitcher loses control after he throws those 4 pitches. But I'm in favor of this rule. I'm just like, I don't want to watch this crap. Just go.
Okay.
Just go to first base. I look at it as
I don't hate it.
It'll happen twice. It'll happen twice a season where something stupid will happen. The loss of control happens more frequently, but something stupid happening, like a wild pitch or something.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of these guys don't throw enough strikes as it is. I'm fine with the 4 pitch walk, except when Garrett Cole calls it himself from the pitcher's mound because he's too chicken to pitch to Devers in a 1-0 game. That was just ridiculous.
That was odd. And it says a lot about Garrett Cole. I'm sorry.
It's sad. It's sad that one of the best pitchers in baseball is afraid in a 1-0 game of pitching to a guy. And guess what? He didn't throw the 4 pitches, and it still funked F-U-N-K-E-D his head. He didn't throw the 4 pitches, and it still screwed him up.
All right, so we have a Webby here. Let's listen. Let's get our comment out of the way here, and let's play it.
Out of the way? I think it's an interesting comment. We should show it respect.
Sorry, Webby.
My take on the Manfred rules. I like the pitch timer. That's moving the games along, and it takes care of folks like Aroldis Chapman that take forever. The Ghost Runner, don't like it so much. I still like a good extra inning game. I want the runs to be earned late in the game. Expansion, yeah, I didn't like 40-man rosters, so 28's just fine.
Thank you, Rob. That's I feel very similar. So thank you so much for that.
So I like to comment on the Ghost Runner. We have that
coming up. So hold the Ghost Runner.
Oh, okay. I'll hold off.
That's the next. That is actually the next rule. Since we're there.
Okay. So I'm going to comment now. Then, damn it. Then I'm commenting.
It's called the Manfred Man, which I love.
Manfred Man, that's right.
I have to say it. I love
the Manfred Man. I happen to not like the Manfred Man rule, but I do believe that when the game gets to the 13th inning, so 3 extra innings without the Manfred Man, if it gets to the 13th inning, use the Manfred Man. But they don't use it, and they don't use it for the playoffs. If they were to use it in the playoffs, I'd be like, that is the stupidest thing in the history of baseball. As long as they don't use it in the playoffs, but I would rather them do it. But the reason that they have to use the Manfred Man is Goes back to my most hated manager of all time, Tony La Russa, and his own no pitcher can pitch more than 1 inning. And the Dusty Baker, left, right, left, right, left, right. I don't mind the Manfred man, but I don't want to see it in the 10th, 11th, and 12th. I want to see it only in the 13th.
All right, and wait,
let Frankie chime in.
I don't like to have a rule that you have in the season and you don't have it in the playoffs. So if you can't have it in the playoffs, you shouldn't have it at all. Just like I know hockey has, they don't have overtime; they shoot off, and then in playoffs they have overtime. I think it should be the same. You can't play a different game because it's the playoffs.
I agree entirely. Thank you for bringing that up. Also, our friend of the show, Jameson, is saying he thinks that who doesn't like extra innings? He loves it. He says at least make it the 12th inning. So he's with you, Mike, maybe a little bit earlier in the game. Frankie, what do you feel about baseball and the purity of it all? Part of what baseball is you have to earn your chance on base. You have to earn. It's hard. It's hard. What's that? Yeah, I know. That looks like Sherman. That's not me. Boy, listen, I'm glad this will be fun. I'm glad. Listen, I want you guys to know the real me. This is who I was. What can I say? I am what I am. I am is what I am. All right, so, back to this though. What do you feel about as far as the Manfred man? Don't you think you have to earn your way on base? Don't you feel baseball is about getting there? Just putting him there. It just seems so odd to me.
And does he get? I don't know the rules. Does he? If he scores, he gets a run scored in the stats, right? The guy made an out the year before. He gets on second and he gets a run scored. It's the whole thing.
But it's an unearned run.
Yeah, thank God for that.
But again, everything is so organized in baseball based around fairness. The whole story of the way what's the comic? I keep forgetting.
George Carlin.
George Carlin, classic about how baseball is about earning your way and fairness. And then they just come up with this rule that just says, all right, you don't have to hit. You don't have to walk. You don't have to work in at bat. You don't have to do anything. Don't worry. You're going to be at second base because we want to end the game sooner. It always bothered me just because it's so contrary to what baseball's about.
Now, I never mind extra innings. I'm looking at my framed picture here when I was with my daughter, except for that one in 2008, the All-Star game that went to. I was.
Let's not go like that. For God's sakes, end. Don't get me this tie. Don't. Are we going to get to the All-Star game stuff, Adam? Now that you disappeared.
Where'd you go? I'm coming back. I just have to get some power. I need a power supply here.
Oh, I guess Adam. He went to go get his. He went to go get his flute.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
He's unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, I just at a certain point in time.
All right. So more on this one. The rule. What else about the Manfred man rule that I wanted to bring up? It does create some excitement. You have to admit, it is nice. I kind of like the idea of how you need to score 2 runs to really make it worthwhile.
If you're the visiting team.
If you're the visiting team, you need to score that second run. That does create some urgency and a little bit of strategy that moves you away from the bunt. The bunt is such a natural play at that point to get the guy over, unless you're the Yankees and you're terrible at getting guys in from third base. But I think it makes sense that I like the idea that it creates strategy. It makes the managers think a little bit.
Well, yeah, but the home teams aren't bunting. When the visitors don't score, the home teams aren't bunting, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, I would do it immediately. Get that run in, and it's all that matters. That's everything. It's your game right there.
I'm talking about if you're the home team. If you're the home team and the visitors don't score, I don't understand why you don't bunt the runner to third, with exceptions for hitters like Judge and Soto and Stanton that never bunt. But there's no reason in the world when you're going to the bottom of the inning that you're not bunting. And, these guys are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm sorry. Yes, you don't bunt a guy from first to second because nobody out, man on first. The guy on first scores more often than the guy on second with one out. But with a man on second and nobody out and a man on third with one out, the man on third, one out scores just as often, analytically speaking, as the man on second with nobody out. Because all you need is there's so many more ways to score with the guy on third. And that's what bothers me is that the home teams don't bunt. But I said, I don't want the Manfred man. I don't want to see the Manfred man till the 13th inning.
And what about this? How about if you're the home team? Let's just say you don't score. So, or even if you do, you're the road team. So you're winning. You're either tied or you're winning by a run. Guy's at second base. Then he gets over to third for whatever reason. Why not walk everybody at that point? Why not walk the bases loaded? Don't you think? I find that's not done very often. Who cares? The winning run is probably at third base. So yeah. In this case,
depends on the hitter.
Do you walk the bases loaded and then bring in your best ground ball pitcher at that point?
I don't know. I would never walk. There's certain guys you don't intentionally walk. You don't intentionally walk DJ LeMahieu in his 175 batting average. You don't intentionally walk, Trent Grisham in his 190 batting average. But, I could see why you would intentionally walk other guys for sure. But,
all right.
That's that. What's the next one on the plate there, big guy?
A bunch of things happened in 20 that were tied to COVID. You had the 7-inning DH. I don't count that. Doubleheader. I don't count that.
No.
And then you had the beginning of the universal DH, designated hitter, which I think was the best thing that he's ever done. I think, and I don't know anybody. Do you ever hear anybody complaining about the National League teams not having pitchers hit anymore? That was such an annoyance to hear that for years and years. The traditionalists who were talking about it and how bad it was, how bad the baseball was. And now you never hear anyone talk about it.
Yeah.
But in 2022, they shifted over to they adopted in the National League. I think it's great. What do you think, Michael, my friend?
I think that they should have had the DH for both leagues from the get-go.
1970.
97% of the pitchers couldn't hit Kramer's weight.
Yeah.
And it was discussed, Madison Bumgarner is an exception.
Kramer's looking a little
these guys, they couldn't, and they never hit in the minors. That was the other thing is even the National League's minor league teams, the pitchers didn't hit because they had the universal DH in the minors. It was just ridiculous that it took so long to do this. Universal DH is the right thing to do. I mean, it was supposed to be an experiment, right? What was it 73 with Bloomberg, right? It was supposed to be an experiment. Yep. And as soon as the experiment was over, they should have done it. And my understanding from the stories that people told is they actually were going to vote for the DH to be implemented in the National League after the experiment in the American League. But I think it was the Pirates owner was out fishing and his general manager didn't vote how he wanted him to vote. So the National League kept the pitchers hitting. There's some story behind it. I forgot who told it to us at camp. It was a former player or coach who told us the story. And I think it was the Pirates owner who, they didn't vote how the Pirates owner really wanted them to vote. So the National League kept the pitchers hitting. It's such a better game. The other question is what do you think? What do you think of the rule that with the Ohtani rule, which is the DH and the pitcher are no longer tied to each other if a guy's a pitcher and a DH, so that a two-way player can stay in the lineup as the DH even after he comes off the mound?
That's an interesting one, but that's such an outlier. We'll see it again. We're going to see another Ohtani in our lifetime. But what about you, Frank? What do you think of the universal DH?
Well, as soon as they went to interleague play, it should have been automatic. I mean, and we've been interleague play about, 25 years at least? So
27.
That's what I thought. In fact, it was back in 2000. You remember, we used to have American League umpires, National League umpires, American League commissioner, American League baseballs, everything. But they said, we want to make it all one now. Well, the one thing you should have made all one was the DH. That was the time to do it. I mean, they changed everything. Well, we want to make it all one league. But you didn't change the most important thing. You changed.
So my brother has an opinion, by the way. He said he couldn't leave a message. Microphone wasn't working. But he said he does have an opinion on the Ghost Runner by Brother Todd. He says the ghost runner should have to run holding a flute like a baton in a relay race.
Very good.
That's me.
I like that. I like that a lot. The
What do you think about the visits to the mound? That changed.
Yeah, that's
had
another
so many.
rule that happened in the same year. The 20 was the year that he really went crazy with rules.
Well, that was the Posada. That's because of freaking Posada. The rule is great. And the rule is great because the Yankees were the ones that were abusing the rule because Posada would go there every 3 pitches, especially in the playoffs. It's a much better game. And really, does anybody miss those pitching visits anyhow? I think that rule. I think that rule.
Well, we always had the second time the manager coach.
Yeah, right.
He was out anyway.
You can have this guy go and that guy go and Posada go 42 times. This rule, which I didn't think, I didn't think was going to have a big impact on the game.
It did, yeah.
It did, and I appreciate. Talk about speeding up the game. That rule sped up the game.
That's right, and that rule was actually in 22. The rule that was the other rule in 20, I think we're all agreed that that's a good rule. This is interesting. This one's a tough one. I do like it. The relief pitchers have to face 3 batters. I like that, from a strategy again. Also because I find it annoying, especially in September, when you'd have 20 relief pitchers. They literally you'd have one guy throw 1 pitch and they take him out. I mean, it was absolutely crazy how poorly it was managed. I like this rule. I like the 3 batter rule. I like to think that it requires that these guys look at the lineup. And since most of the stuff is done by the analytics department, anyway, it's only really opportunity for the managers to do some work. And I think so I love that rule. What do you think, Frankie?
I like it. I don't like it. As a traditionalist, I don't like it, but it does. It does throw actually more, like I say, more strategy into the game, which it's always good. Anytime you have more strategy, it's better. Like I say, I don't like the one batter, 1 pitch, at all. But
got it.
A little bit.
Well, I mean, I like the 3 batter rule. I was wary of it when it first came out, but I really hated, the Dusty Baker changing pitchers every batter all season long. But Frankie, if you're going to talk about strategy, getting rid of the pitcher hitting removed a lot of strategy, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, but I didn't care about it.
I was never for the D. I mean, I just said both leagues should have it. I mean,
okay. All right, so time is of the essence, so we have to move relatively quickly. Just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. 2023 shifts are banned. Up or down? Down.
Learn how to hit.
Yeah, I'm with you, but they don't. So I'm thumbs up on it. I think it's they're never going to learn how to hit. They do what they do.
Offense is not up since they got rid of that.
I know.
So the idea that offense would go up because there wouldn't be any shift is a load of bunk.
Statistically speaking, BABIP is the one stat that's up.
Runs are down.
Okay.
Batting averages are down.
The average for BABIP is 14 points for left-handers. They're 14 points more, and 40 points on ground balls and on pulled ground balls and fly ball and line drives. Batting average is up 40 points. For left-handed batters. Righties see no difference because for whatever reason, righties are able to hit.
I didn't know, as far as the shift goes, I don't like the guy that was standing in short right field. That bothered me a little bit more than the actual shift. Feet on the dirt part of the rule I do like.
Got it. The what about the pitch clock?
Love it.
Love it. Speed, absolutely.
And I love that they sped it up even more this season.
And the batters, they have the same thing, right? Don't they have a requirement that we see that happening as well this year? Or last year, batters had to get in at a certain time.
They have that since the beginning. My brother Todd chimed in and said, let them shift. Players should learn to hit to opposite field. Batting average is no longer an important stat.
They won't do it. So.
No, they won't get rid of it.
All right, so that was we had last year we had pitch clock, then we had the bases enlarged. That's led to a 1.8%, a 1.8 per game success rate, up from 1.4%. So it hasn't been, I don't know if that over a season, it doesn't seems to me that rule in coupled with the throwover rules have really not impacted base stealing like I would expect. I think what's really impacting base stealing, pitchers don't know how to hold guys anymore, and catchers just can't throw.
Yeah, but 1.4 to 1.8 is not is let's say not even a half a base a game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it didn't have more of an impact.
Yeah, I agree. I really was excited about this rule because about it because I felt that it would help base stealers. Not as much the size of the base. I mean, that's negligible. But what I thought would be with the throwover rules that these guys would game that more, and they don't. They don't game it. I'd be using it all the time. I'd be if I was coaching over there, I'd want these guys making them throw over, and they don't. It hasn't made that much of a difference. All right.
Well, wait a second. Wait, my brother Todd now has a proposed rule, which I'm against. Just so you know.
Yeah.
The proposed rule is that after the 13th inning, all players should have to hit with a flute and not a bat. The game would never end.
I did do that. I used my flute for that purpose many times because we were too poor to have a bat. Guys, have fun. I'm fine with it. I was proud of that. I liked it. I was a musical guy. Okay. I can play that. All right. Enough. Finishing up, I want to just go to a couple of things. Attendance is up 8.1%. And they say the average age of the viewer is down 3 years. These are stats that came out this year when they started to review the looking back at 5 years of the new rules or 8 years of the new rules. It has accomplished what they want. Apparently, there are more young people watching baseball, and attendance is up. So they're making the game more interesting.
I didn't know those numbers. Those are interesting to hear. Those are good numbers. But what's interesting is once they get the time of the game down, are they going to start to increase the time between innings and put another commercial in? Yeah. Now that they got the time below 3 hours?
Oh, that money they lost.
Frankie, it's your turn, baby. We have a few minutes. We're a little late, but we're going to let you talk. This is what baseball has decided. This company has bought the rights to the helmets of all of the major leaguers during playoffs.
Who the hell is Strauss? What company is Strauss?
Know. I think that is it a financial company?
Well,
so this was this is going to be on all the helmets moving forward. What do you think about that, Franklin?
I got to check my blood pressure. It goes to the uniform. Let me show you this real quick. I know we're out of time, but let me show you. How do I do this on this? Oh. Okay.
There we go. Look at Frankie. There he is. What does it say there, Frankie?
These are the advertisements. So the most is financed. Then you've got, you got 3 insurance companies. I love the Kroger. I love the 2 supermarkets. You got the Sheets, which is I didn't know about. I like the Chevrolet, but let's go to the pictures. Let's go to the videotape.
Warner Wolf has joined our show.
Okay. Here it is.
I can't believe the size of this.
These are my top ones right here. I didn't know Sheets even existed on a uniform. This is just outright ugly. It's a petroleum company. And then,
but it's Oxy. Wait, go back to Oxy. Go back to Oxy. When I first saw these, I thought it was for opioids.
OxyClean?
I thought it was opioids.
But these are my favorite worst. Kroger with a shopping basket next to it, and the quality of the stitching is just amazing. Not to be outdone, the Mets looks like somebody on Etsy. Etsy did that. I mean, Etsy could have done better than that. Forget.
That's the Mets. Good old Mets.
And then Mass Mutual, a really fine job, and spend some money on the damn patch. And my favorite one of them all is this: a bag of freaking concrete. I'm sorry, a bag of concrete on the sleeve of the Braves. Give me a freaking break. You got me started. Okay,
so Frankie.
Now my favorite ones is the Yankees because it's simple and it blends in. I hate it, but it's simple. And then I love Chevrolet, so I love the Chevy logo. So
who does Chevy?
Giants.
The Giants do 7?
Yeah, and it's I like.
I don't even know, and I live here, watch their games almost
Now,
every
my
day, and I had
question
no
is-
clue.
My question is, I can speed this up, is why do these teams don't have them?
Nobody
Oakland,
would pay the money. They probably
because nobody would pay the A's. Nobody would pay the A's. Let's start with the A's. Nobody's paying to
I
put
know
their
that
name
one.
and uniform on the A's. The
Okay.
Nationals, I am genuinely surprised that some politician didn't do it. Nobody pays for the Rays. I don't know why white Twinkies don't have the Twins. That makes
The
no
White
sense.
Sox, nobody wanted to be near them.
How about the
Well,
Mariners?
yeah, but if you go back a couple of years when this started, the White Sox weren't a bad team. So the White Sox, I'm a little bit surprised that some tube sock company didn't do it. The Mariners, I'm surprised that aren't the Mariners owned by some Japanese gaming company?
Yeah.
Why they didn't put like Mario on the side of the uniform?
I have no idea.
And then the Rockies, why? How could Coors?
Well, they probably would. I was thinking.
Oh, that's right. They're not allowed. Coors isn't allowed. No more beer
I
stuff.
guess that was the reason. But funny thing about the Nationals, they're one of the few teams also who don't have a naming right on their stadium. They have a national. So
Well, the Nationals have issues because the Orioles control a lot of stuff when it comes to the Nationals.
But I thought that it was interesting. But I think the winner is definitely the bag of concrete on the Braves. I mean, that is the most hideous thing
All right.
I've
So
ever seen.
do I think that these things are stupid? What I think is stupid is that I don't even know. I mean, I know they're there and I see them, but I can't read them when I'm watching TV, even on a big screen.
The other thing is the Nike is actually commercial because, let me turn this around here. If you think about it, Nike, when the players were complaining about how cheap the uniforms this year, Nike threw Fanatics under the bus. Well, we didn't make them. So if they didn't make them, they're just another advertisement.
What's on your left shoulder there, Frankie?
I would never pay for this. They gave it to me. But actually, I paid $5,000 for it.
It's a $5,000 shirt. Hey, listen. So as far as I'm concerned, I think any company that pays to have, I mean, what did the Yankees get? $25 million from Star?
They're the biggest. They're getting.
The biggest. But I don't even know what that company does. I never heard of them.
It's corporate insurances company, yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing that I don't understand is these guys, why these companies pay for these things. They're invisible to me. Now, if they did them all over like NASCAR did, I would have a problem.
Well, it's not going to stop there. And then, the little fun fact, Motorola is on 2 different teams.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Wow. That's incredible.
Padres have it, and
it doesn't really bother me. I think it's a waste of money for marketing. Nike makes the uniforms, then fine. Put your little Nike thing on it.
Make the uniform.
I know. Well, they do make it. They licensed it. They licensed it to Fanatics. But New Era's got their stuff on the hats, right? Isn't this say New Era right there?
Yeah, I know.
It
New
does.
Era's on the hats because they make the hats.
2 Nikes. You take the 2 Nikes, then you got the advertisement. You got the New Era. So you got I think 5 or 6 commercials on there.
Right, and hockey has it on the helmets, and I don't really notice it.
I think the sadness of this all is that it's only the beginning.
If it's only the beginning and it's a slippery slope, I agree. It's a problem. The other half of it is I can't read these advertisements even on a big screen. It's dumb. I think it's a waste of money for the companies that are doing it.
How about Kramer? Kramer won't buy a new uniform because
that's right. That's why Kramer won't buy a new uniform. You know why Kramer won't buy a new uniform? Because he can't get a Hall of Fame vote from whoever's uniform he buys. If Frankie says, I will guarantee your vote and 10 other people voting for you for the Hall of Fame, if you buy me this thing with this logo on it, Kramer will buy one for Frankie. I am sorry. I love the guy, but if it got him into the Hall of Fame, and what he doesn't understand is he probably got enough votes for the Hall of Fame because everybody I talk to votes for him. There's one reason Kramer's not in the Hall of Fame, and he'll never get into the Hall of Fame as long as that one person has a big role at camp. And you guys know who that is, and I know who that is as well.
And we'll save that for another day. Folks, thank you, Franklin.
It was great.
You are a great guest. We love having you. You're very knowledgeable, and you're funny as heck. Michael, it's always a pleasure.
Don't say goodbye. We have walking away music.
Okay.
All right.
Take it easy, fellas.
I feel like a music
Have fun,
wrapping
boys.
up my reports here.
There you go. Oh, wow. Now you went all SNL on us.